Oh, isn't that nice? We have the beautiful sun here just laughing at us while we are throwing our money away. Yeah, this is one of these gambling machines I just recently scored. Well, actually I scored it yesterday. I got this whole huge machine for absolutely nothing. This thing is absolutely giant. It also weighs a ton. I would say it weighs something around 20 to 30 kilograms. It's absolutely huge and massive. And it does actually work. The previous owner said it was defective. Well, in defective so far it would power on. Some of the lights would switch on. But if you would insert some coins, absolutely nothing happened. Well, for those people who probably know Europe the best, know that these aren't European coins. These are the old German coins. This is an old German-made gambling machine, and this uses a type of money which is called Deutsche Mark, which was until 2002 the currency Germany used. So, yeah, if you don't have that currency around, what you're gonna do? You can't use this machine. It's not gonna work on anything else. It won't work on euro. It won't work on these metal things that you can use for supermarket trolleys. But, yeah, the previous owner did something completely different. And that was actually the whole reason why he couldn't get this thing to actually do something. Now, before I'm going to show you exactly what the previous owner did, let's just have a small overview of the entire unit. I already had done some repairs on this giant thing. We have got our spinning wheels, and these spinning wheels, well, they have a specific combination and something that multiplies them. I have no idea exactly what. I'm not that into gambling, I just am interested in the mechanics of this machine. And here are all the properties, well, the winning options for this. So you have to get a specific combination and get a certain amount of laughing suns at you that are just laughing at you while you're throwing your money away, and then you will win. That's it. Up here on the top we have got some more wheels. This is the money saver. That's the amount of money that is currently inside the machine. Before I'm actually going to power it, I'm going to reset all that. And here we have got a special game, which I so far haven't managed to get into with this thing. I do in fact have the correct coins for this machine, and yes, it does actually work. So, but first of all, what do we have here on the top? We have a slot for putting our coins in and a button that allows us to get the coins back if something goes wrong, at least if the machine isn't powered down. If there's a power outage or anything, you will not get this money back, and when the power goes back on, it will just continue to operate until we get a 9 here and just zeros in the front. You have to get a total of 1 mark, or a total of currency of 1 point something, and then this thing will work. If you have 0 point anything, nothing will happen. The machine will just stay switched off. Below that we have our button to get the coins out of the machine, that we have 1. Yeah, this thing does actually save the coins up here, and if you want to continue, you can continue. And if not, you can get your coins back. Below that we have a risk switch, and the instructions for this thing are here. So yeah, this is just, pressing this button is just making the whole thing a little bit more risky. And below that we have got some more instructions on how this thing operates, how the gaming works, how the game plan is. Some hints where I already mentioned that with the power outage you will not get that money back, and that people under 18 years are not allowed to use this thing. Well, at least if it is out in public. If it's a private person, for example like me right now, as I got this machine, anyone can use it as long as I don't make profit of it. And below that we just have the start button, and that's the automatic thing. So you just start the whole thing with this button and stop it whenever you want to. And due to whatever thing that is going on right now, you will get a different combination on these wheels. Now, below that, we just have the tray where the money comes out if you're actually going to win. So far I only have won 2 times with this thing, and since I do not have enough coins, none of the coins have actually come out. So yeah, I'm actually thinking about upgrading this thing to accept different coins, which is possible, but it's not the easiest thing. And one of the big issues that I'm currently encountering with is here is this door on the bottom. Now what this door on the bottom does, it allows me to take out the coins. Normally there would be a tray in here, and if the coin sorter, which is over here, gets full, all the extra coins will go in here, and you can just take them out, and that will actually be your profit. All that stays in here won't actually be your profit. That's just how this machine can operate. Over here we have a lamp. Yes, I actually did that small mod wire there, but for some reason this lamp doesn't want to work. That is just, I'm just testing if I can get this lamp actually to work again, but so far it's not looking that good. And one thing that really annoys me is this is the lock of the whole thing, and somebody has taken a drill to it, and yeah, you can probably tell this lock doesn't work anymore. And normally there would be a metal bar on here that would slide into the side of the machine, into these holes, and keep the whole thing shut. But since that is all missing, I can't close this thing, and it will just start always to fall open. And also what's quite interesting, you need a lot of pressure to get this thing on there, because, well, we're going to have a look over here. We have got a hidden switch, and what this switch is, well, that's the foul switch. Meaning if somebody shakes this machine or starts to try to open it, this switch, which is like this, is in the on position, will move a little bit back, and the machine will immediately register that this is a foul and will just stop whatever it is doing. Although there is a test option, if you pull that switch out, the machine will continue operating even if it's opened. And below that we have got a counter which is currently at 88. It was definitely a lot higher, and the previous owner probably has pressed it a couple of times, because when I got it was at 0. And I actually lost the metal spring that keeps it upright. I'm definitely going to clean that up, and I'm also going to do a small modification to this switch here, because I want to be able to use this machine without well, referring to this switch, so that I mean I can open it and so on without the security mechanism actually blocking it. So yeah, that's basically what we have got on the basic overview of this machine, and so on. But where it gets really interesting, and what was actually the main reason why I got this whole massive unit, is, well, we have a door that can open. And this is where it gets actually pretty fascinating. As you can probably tell from the first look on this thing, this whole unit is running completely analog. There is nothing digital, unless maybe a tiny bit of data transfer in the whole thing, and that's it. Yeah. Here in the front we have got actually our entire light panel, which is also going to the corresponding switches. As you can probably see, yep, here is some hot glue used. I actually had to do it this way, there was no other way, because the problem is this is the risk switch, which we have got here on the front, and that thing was loose, so it was always falling back into the machine. And I tried some bigger screws, but the problem is that the screw holes don't grab onto any kind of screws I have. And the screws would just be so ridiculously big, so I had to make actually the holes into the whole metal a lot bigger. So the only option was actually to glue it in there. It does hold on nice and firmly, so there is nothing wrong, and the switch below that just works fine. So, as you probably tell, this is the front glass panel with all its lighting and so on. And below that we have got our, well, this would actually be the processing unit of the whole thing, almost. We have got, yeah, these are the steering wheels, what I presume that's the correct translation for that. And yeah, the mechanism how they just work is, well, we have got some plastic reels with some holes in them, and behind that are some switches, if you can look through that piece of plastic, and they can just register if it's on or off. And on the other thing we have got the impulses, and it's basically exactly the same thing, although this is all a lot finer. And if we go lower and lower again, we have got more light bulbs and power supplies and everything going to this thing. So there is definitely a lot of stuff going on here. Here are a ton of relays also inside this thing, so that you get all your flashing lights and get the people happy and make them want to play more and more until they are bankrupt. Yeah. But if we are going to follow all the cables that are in the front panel of the unit, they will go back in the heart of the machine, and up there behind those reels, and behind those is where all the real magic actually happens. So up here we have the controller unit for the for these reels. That is the special game. It, so far as I know, it also does control the money counter, although for some reason we have got 4 of them, but we only have got 3 slots. That makes it all a little bit awkward, but I don't know. And up here on the top it just tells us exactly what is for what. Yeah. And this thing for the 2D mark, that doesn't actually show up, so I have no idea why that's actually in there. And over here we have got our special game, which, as already said, I don't get actually to work. Yeah. So these things just start to count up. Now, here we have got some more interesting big reels. And this is where all the beautiful winning abilities are. So, in order to win, you need a specific amount of suns on all those 3 reels. And to win, you need a sun on the last reel. And if we're going to have a look, 2 windows, so the first 2 show a total of 3 numbers or suns, and the last window just shows 1. And in order to actually win, you always have to have 1 sun on the last reel, otherwise you're going to lose and you're just going to waste your money. Yeah. Now, I currently am not able to access the circuit board that is all hidden behind there, but as you can probably already tell, yep, that is a hand-traced circuit board. That this machine was probably made in the 70s or 80s. It's actually quite old, and the same goes for that. And this is where all the controlling and everything happens, and as we can see, we have got some circuit boards also inside these reels. And these circuit boards all correspond to the specific numbers and suns we have got on here. And here in the end we have got the main unit, and this will always make contact when the whole thing has stopped moving. So, and if we look in here, we have got some wiper contacts, and if those make contact with specific pads, the machine will know, aha, you have got no numbers and only suns, you win. But most of the times it will just say, well, you've got 1 sun, but you don't have a sun on the last reel, so nope, I'm gonna keep your money. And yeah. So there is of course some processing going on inside this thing, but not very much. Most of the stuff is just completely mechanical, and it's just actually pretty beautiful in seeing this thing in fully operation. Behind the... see if we can have a look here. We have got a ton of diodes, relays, resistors, and so on, all corresponding to the reels, of course. Now, here we have got our main power supply. This thing does actually get quite hot. I've already measured that with my laser thermometer, but that appears to be normal. So it just gets up to about 40 degrees. And you can probably already tell there's a little bit of rust on here. should not too much, it's not much, but it's something you should maybe keep in mind, and in some years maybe swap out this transformer with a new one, if you can get the correct replacement. What's actually pretty funny getting replacements for this thing, for example the money tray, which is missing in this whole unit, that thing is actually fairly cheap. In fact, all of the replacement parts for this are pretty cheap. So, I don't know, some of these machines go for some crazy high prices, some of them go away for free, like I got this thing also for free, and some were just for about 10 euros, and that's not that much. So, the last thing in our whole assembly here is, of course, the money mechanism, and this is the slot where the money goes in, and it falls down here to the coin sorter, so that registers if it's actually a coin the machine accepts. Then it will fall down a little more, and if it's a coin the machine does actually accept, it will go into this plastic money sorter and will fall into those tubes. And if you're having already a look at this, we have got 5 D-Mark, 10 Pfennig, 1 D-Mark and 2 D-Mark. Considering from the height of the tubes is actually quite a lot of money that fits in here. And when these tubes get full, well, only thing that happens is the money you throw in, it will go into the coin sorter, but after that it will go into this slot here and will just fall through this plastic tubing all the way into the money box, which will actually be your profit, as I already said. So, I'm gonna go and get this thing out here. You can actually move that out. We have got some mechanical parts and show you exactly what the previous owner had done and why this thing wasn't really working. Also, what's quite interesting, this is the only lock that's on the whole unit, and you probably already noticed this piece of metal going over here. So, what does it do? Well, if I push this thing back in, it will go into a specific position where it just stops moving and then pushes on a second lever which pushes upwards, and here we have got the lock for the door. So yeah, there's not really much to it, and the only way this thing is held together is with that. So that is not very secure, I have to say. But at least this thing is in a very good condition. Unfortunately, there's something I really don't like, is that the place that owned this machine had left the lock in here. This lock isn't connected to anything, there is nothing moving towards it, but it shouldn't really belong here because it will get in contact with those reels. So that means I will actually have to get the angle grinder and just to get this stupid lock out. Why they didn't just lay it in here, I don't know. There's plenty of space below this thing. No idea. That's actually quite annoying. And yeah, we do actually have a European mains plugin here that supports a total of 1.6 amps for whatever attachments there are for this machine, because, well, if we look here in the back, there is still one free port. And just for those wondering, yes, this here is the regular €1 coin, the new money we have in Europe since 2002. And this is the German old currency, the D-Mark or Deutsche Mark. And yeah, that is currently the money this machine operates with. And what's quite interesting is that this machine only works with a specific kind of these coins, because if they are not magnetic, which the old ones apparently are not, it will just not accept those. So this is a coin from 1971. I do have one which is a lot older, and the machine just says nope, and always spits it back out. Yeah, and that's basically what it looks like, for those who are just wondering. Okay, but what I've already done is I already have reset the money counter and everything. Well, the money saver, and I'm gonna put this thing up and show you the coin mechanism and what the previous owner had done, why this thing wasn't working anymore. But before that, I have to put something underneath the door, just so this whole thing doesn't fall over. Because this part here is one of the most heaviest things inside the whole machine, except for the motor and the transformers. But yeah, just for those wondering who wanna know how you get these things out of these machines, if there's, for example, something stuck in here or whatever, well, up here's the lever, you have to pull that and try to lift that whole thing upwards and it will just slide out. Like so. And here we go. So, well, at first glance, we can probably already see there's some rust on this thing. It's again not much, but I'm definitely going to try to get rid of that with some sandpaper or so. That's actually color on here. Maybe some rust metal protecting stuff I'm going to use, just so that this thing doesn't break. I am probably going to get myself another replacement part of these. Just so that if something breaks, I can fix it, because, well, these things are actually quite fragile. So, what do? Well, we insert our well-earned money. That goes in here. If the coin is too big, this metal sheet will just block that, and that's it. And the money will go here into the back and will fall down. And it will fall down into this coin verifier here. That thing up here verifies if that is actually a coin the machine accepts or not. If not, it's gonna spit it out and will fall down this shaft all the way back out to the bottom tray. And the thing below here does almost the exact same thing. And if we go lower and lower, this is where all the coin sorting stuff happens, and until we actually get to the tubes where the sorted money actually ends up stacked like that. And you can see that those contacts there actually register if those coins, well, at least if there are enough of those coins in there or not. And yeah, that's how this machine can tell if the money of the bank, like I'm going to call it right now, is filled or not, or if there's enough money in it. Everything is looking pretty good, the plastic is okay, and up here is where the machine actually can sort out the money if the whole thing gets too full, and it will just fall into the money tray in here. So, well, what has the previous owner done why this thing wasn't working anymore? I'm gonna show you. Now, first of all, as I already said, this thing will only work with specific coins, and since it hasn't been modified to accept newer coins like the Euro coins, which is possible, then you can go into a 1-to-1 or a 1-to-2 ratio, like we want, because, well, actually these coins are still, you can actually still use them. If you go to a bank, the bank will give you the exact value of that. But the D-Mark only has half the value of the Euro, meaning that this 2 D-Mark coin has the same value as this 1 Euro coin. So, yeah. Which I presume makes a lot more sense than using a 1-to-1 on this thing. Because, well, it is pretty straightforward with these here. But there is no 5 Euro coin. We only have a 2 Euro coin, and that's probably why the 1-to-2 ratio would be a lot better. Yeah. So, well, what has the previous owner done? Now I'm finally going to tell you it. Well, he has inserted coins that aren't even close to the German old currency, the D-Mark. And that were these. We have got pens from Great Britain. Then we have got something from not quite sure. That appears to be also the same country. And what do we have here? Krona. And yeah. So, what was the problem? These coins were all stuck in this coin verifier here. Now, to actually get that open, it's actually pretty easy. You have to press this piece of metal back, flip that, and then the whole thing will open up. By the way, the instructions for that are here. And that's how I could actually get all the coins out of here, because they were all stuck on this magnet right here. And yeah, that was basically it. Then everything fell out. I could just remove the coins from the magnet, and everything worked fine. Now the whole thing is operating. As I already said, I'm going to get myself a second one of these, just in case something fails. I have a replacement part for this. So, let's close this thing up and put it back together. Now you put it back together the same way you took it apart. It's a little bit flimsy and difficult because there's a pin in the back, and that pin has to align with a hole, very specifically this hole, which is also on the other side. This hole also lines up with the front of the door with this. And if these two don't line up, well, the door won't close. And yeah, this is actually the most difficult part of putting the whole thing actually back together. Because as you can see, it just got stuck. And this is also how I got it actually. The pin now is not in the correct hole. There we go. Oh yeah, one thing I forgot. See this white box in the back there? Well, that is actually a bell. That makes noises when you win, or whenever, I have no idea. Sometimes it makes noises, most of the time it doesn't. Or if it's actually correctly hooked up, but it does work, and it did actually irritate me with my doorbell. Which was quite funny. Yeah, so now for all of you, I'm just going to power this thing up, and we're going to have a look. Here we go, the whole thing is switched on. By the way, this panel down here, it has got a switch up here that allows you to do flashing and whatever. I just have it on the on position, and that means it just is on the whole time unless the machine starts actually to do something. So, as I already said, that light bulb down there doesn't really work. Still have to figure out why. And I'm now going to close the door. That's weird, a screw just fell out. Have to find out where it belongs. Yeah, got the door closed, and as we can see, the foul light lights up. That means that switch down there has been triggered, because of course the door is open. So I'm just going to pull out on that switch and get it into the testing. And as you can see, the light is now switched off. So what we're going to do now is take our coin, insert into the machine, and it counts up to the 2. And here we go. It will eventually do everything by itself, but yeah. If you want to, you can stop the whole thing manually. Let's switch the risk button on. Oh, whoops, too late. Stop it again. Well, at least I did get a sun. Wait again. Come on. Come on. That was close. But nope. And as we can see, the machine has just stopped to do anything at all because, well, we have got less than 1.0. So what we can do now is either get our money back out of this thing or just leave it as it is. So, but we want our 80 cents back. Let's press the money return. But the problem is the thing is empty because I don't have enough coins for it. So I've actually got to do it manually. going in here and pulling up on that switch. So that it does know that some coins have been inserted, and I got my 80 cents of my two, back. And by the way, to actually fill this machine, it's also quite simple. There has to be a certain amount of coins in here, otherwise nothing will actually happen. You just insert all your coins into the corresponding slot. Until it's as full as you want it to be. So what I would like to really try is to get a hold of more of these coins. Unfortunately, they are pretty rare right now. So it will be a little bit difficult to actually get this machine up to a state where it actually will sort out the coins if there are too many. But yeah, maybe I'll just try to get this thing modified so it just accepts supermarket chips for trolleys. That would also be great. But yeah, see about that. And if you really want to know how the whole thing looks when it's opened up, well, I'm gonna go and release one of the coins. By the way, that's actually pretty easy to do. And here we go. Let's insert it. Oops, didn't like it that time. Oh no, I know what happened. By the way, the faux light is on, and that means that switch there has been pressed back in. Means this machine will actually keep the money if the faux is switched on. So let's try this again. They're a lot better. And as you can see, everything is working nicely and smoothly. Well, and now we haven't got enough coins on this whole thing anymore. I'm actually going to switch this thing back to flashing. Just for fun, it will take some time to actually do that. But let's see if we can get our coins back out. And I just have to grab in there. And there we go. We have got our 80 cents back. Yeah, that is basically the overview of this whole unit. Everything seems to be working just fine. I don't know if those lights here are supposed to light up or not. But yeah, this thing does work. It's actually quite nice. Judging from the fact that these things sometimes, well, some people tend to have gambling issues and tend to spend more than they have on this. But yeah, other than that, the mechanics that are behind this thing are absolutely beautiful. Oh yeah, I just had some issues with the coin return mechanism. Turns out that one of the pieces of metal that correspond to the switches had been bent out of shape because maybe coins were in there that didn't belong in there, which there definitely were a lot on this machine. Because normally you can see this is the mechanism. If there are enough coins in there stacked up, the switch will be outside. Well, this lever.
But if there are not enough coins in there, it will be like this. And with the 10 with the 10 or 10 cents sort of coin back there, I just had that issue. As you can see now, it's just fine. The thing was just that whatever was in there had been bent so much back that the switch didn't make contact with it anymore. And yeah, that's why it didn't work. The 10 Pfennig, that's the cents, the D-Mark, is the coin that I have the most in here and is actually able to be dispensed back out. By the way, I have just got 10 Pfennig in this whole thing, and if I press the button for the coin return, you will see that it's working, and this impulse thing here will start, and the coin has fallen out, and the counter is back at 0. And there's our coin. Let's try that again. Insert here, press the button, and it's that simple. Actually, yeah, I'm just gonna put it back in the whole thing because that's a coin that I rarely use with this thing. Good, I just have 3 of these. I do have 1 spare, but the problem is that coin, as I already said, is too old and the machine will just not accept it. Since it doesn't pass the coin verifier up here, it will just throw the whole thing back out of the bottom again. And if you want to know how that works with the switch, the door comes in, presses on that switch, and you need a lot of force for the whole thing to be closed, and if any movement or so appears, that foul light up here will switch on, and the machine will just, as you can probably tell, will just stop doing whatever it has been doing before. I can demonstrate that with you. I have just got it in the test position again. Insert that. And now I'm going to do a fall. The machine just stops. Light stays on. And if it's reset, it will take some time, but eventually it will continue. But it will take some of the money away. Yeah, this is basically the program for it. Just tells it what to do, and you can actually stop it at certain times with that switch. And yeah, now for some reason it runs even with less money. Weird. Didn't do that before. So for whatever reason it just has stopped, and it seems that you need a total of 30 cents, not 1 whole coin. But just to verify that, if that is really the case that is going on here, I'm gonna get one of the 10 Pfennig coins out, add this thing up to 30, and yeah, it actually is. A lot easier way to reset the whole thing, just add this thing up to 30 and everything is fine. Yeah. Well, that was a quick
or well, actually fairly long look at my gambling machine. This thing is pretty cool, and if maybe you will want something cool as a decoration in your house, this is definitely one thing that you could use. Of course, remember, for me it is legally to own one of these machines as a private person, as long as I don't make money with it. That means I can't, well, walk around in the streets and ask people to put money in it like that. That is illegal, so I can't make any profit of it. And I can just have it as a decoration article or just for fun. Or just trying to fix it, and especially this bottom door, which doesn't seem to close properly. Because, well, we have got some metal tabs here, and those two don't really interlock, and seems like I have to get the angle grinder on that also. Just so I can close this door, because, well, without the original lock in place, closing this thing is actually quite a struggle. And just to show you that this door lock actually works, if I close this thing, I can't open this door here anymore, it's just locked. Yeah. I want your money. Give me your money. I want it now.